So now let's model. Let me model this for you. I'm going to use the following problem. Lynn added 5/8 cups of apple juice to a 2/5 cup of pineapple juice. How much juice did Lynn make? So Lynn made some juice. She has 5/8 cup of apple juice, and she has 2/5 cups of pineapple juice. And the question is, how much juice did Lynn make? All right. So what I want to do is first look at these denominators. I need a common denominator, okay? I need a common denominator. So what I'm going to do is set my problem up. Go over here and I can list my multiples. Now, if you're good at this, you'll say to yourself, well, what do 8 and 5 have in common? And you'll go, well, the least common thing that they have in common is 40. So what did I actually multiply by 40 to get? What did I multiply by 8 to get 40? And it was 5. So 8 times 5 is 40. But remember, you also have to do it here. 5 times 5 is 25, because what you want to create is an equivalent fraction for 5/8. So 5 times what is 40? 5 times 8 is 40. Also do it here because you want to create an equivalent fraction for 2/5. 2 times 8 is 16. And now what you want to do is you want to add 25 plus 16 and 25 plus 16. And we're going to add that up. It's 41 over 40. Now that is an improper fraction. Let's pull out the whole. 40 40ths plus 1 40th equals to 1 1/40. All right. So Lynn made exactly 1 1/40 cups of juice. All right, let's check your understanding. At this point, you can pause the video to complete the check your understanding, and then unpause the video for to be able to check your understanding to make sure you got the problem right. Okay, good luck. All right, so I'm assuming you stopped the video and now you're coming back to check your work. So 3/8 plus 9/16. Now, if you're like me, you start to ask yourself, what could I multiply by 8 and 16? So I know 8, 16, I know 16. So I know that the least common denominator is 16. Well, 8 times 2 is 16, and 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so 16 times 1 is 16. So I'm just going to multiply this times 1. That is important. So if you multiply this by 1, you got to multiply this by 1 too. Okay, and 6 plus 9 is 15/16. All right. Now let's go to our guided practice portion of the lesson. And the guided practice is just a guide to help you be able to understand these more. And so my suggestion is, again, stop the video, work this problem, read this problem, work it out, and then come back and check to see if you got it right. And if you got it right, that means you're getting a better understanding of this. And if you got it wrong, that means you probably need to go back and review the portions of the video that have already been covered. For strawberry lemonade, the recipe needs 1/5 liters of strawberry juice and 3/5 liter of lemonade juice. How much liquid does the strawberry lemonade recipe need? If doubled, how much liquid does the strawberry lemonade recipe need? If tripled, how much liquid does the strawberry lemonade recipe need? So this question has 3 parts, okay? And I'm assuming you've already stopped, you've come back, and you're ready to check your work. So let's break this down. So I see 1/5 liter of strawberry juice, 3/5 liter of lemonade juice. The first part of this question is, how much liquid does the strawberry lemonade recipe need? So let me solve the first part of this question first. So there will be an addition problem. 1/5 plus 3/5. Okay, and that is 4/5. The second part of this question is if doubled. So double, if I double something, that means I did it 2 times. how much liquid does the strawberry lemonade recipe need? So if this was just for the strawberry juice and the lemonade juice, I would just simply say 4 fills plus 4 fills if I wanted to double that, and that would give me 8 fills. Of course, 8 fills is an improper fraction, so I'm going to take out my whole. 5 fills plus 3 fills, because that's 8 fills, is 1 3 fills. So my answer for that one would be 1 3 fills. For my first one would be 4 fills. For my second part of that, it would be 1 3 fills. And this question has a third part. The third part of this question is, if tripled, how much? Tripled means 3 times. How much liquid does the strawberry lemonade recipe need? So that would be 4 fills plus 4 fills plus 4 fills, which would be 4 plus 4 plus 4, 12 fills. Again, you need to take out your whole. 5 fills plus 5 fills, because 5 plus 5 is 10, and 5 plus 5 is 10 plus 2 is 12. So that would be 1 whole plus 1 whole plus 2 fills, which would be, let me put it here, 2 fills. So that's if the recipe was tripled. Okay, checking for understanding. At this moment, it would probably be good for you to stop the video, work this problem out, come back to the video, and check your work to make sure you got it right. All right? So I'm assuming you stopped the video and you've come back and you're ready to check your work. 0, 1, 0, 1 plus 5, 6. I know this looks funny because you have a 0 in your numerator. And it's really a trick question, because I wanted to give you this problem to show you that your answer is not going to be 0. Okay? So again, you need to find a common denominator first. So I'm going to multiply 1. I'm going to find the multiples of 1. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to list the multiples of 6. 6, 12, 18. Well, what's the least common multiple between these two numbers? Is 6. So with that being said, the least common denominator of these two numbers is 6. Well, 1 times 6 is 6, and 0 times 6 is 0. 6 times 1 is 6, and 5 times 1 is 5. Okay, so now that we have that taken care of, we just add our numerator. 0 plus 5 is 5, and your denominator stays the same. All right, so your answer is 5/6. All right, now you have 3 independent practice problems here. And my suggestion is, after every problem, pause. After I read every problem, pause the problem, work it out, and check it. Okay, and then just keep doing that for the succession of the 3 problems. Miss Pam bought 1/4 pound of toffee and 1/2 pound of cream puffs. How many pounds of candy were bought by Miss Pam? So she bought 1/4 pound of toffee and 1/2 pound of cream puffs. So that's 1/4 plus 1/2. All right. Now, 1/4 plus 1/2, we need to find, of course, a common denominator. So what we need to do here is, you probably have said to yourself, well, I see 4 and I see 2, and I know the common denominator is 4. So I do that a little. Sometimes I do that a little. Sometimes I jump ahead of myself when I'm doing that, because in your head you start to figure out what would be the least common denominator, and it would be 4. So what did I multiply by? What did I multiply by 2 to get the 4 here? Well, I multiplied by 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. Well, what did you multiply by 4 to just keep the 4? It was 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Well, 1 plus 2 is 3, and your denominator stays the same. So she bought 3/4 pounds of candy. Okay? She almost bought a pound. All right, here is 8/10 plus 7/100 plus 4 thousandths. And again, I will pause the video, work the problem out, and then I will come back. All right. I'm assuming that you've worked the video out and you've worked the problem out, and now you're ready to go forth. And this problem has 3 fractions. Okay, it has 3 fractions. So you need a common denominator. So the first thing you want to say to yourself, well, that's 1,000. Well, I can multiply by 10 by something and get 1,000. I can multiply 100 by something and get it 1,000. So I can multiply 100 times 10, and that would be 1,000. And this is already 1,000, so I multiply this by 1. So what would I multiply 10 by to get 1,000? 100. Okay? So I'm going to also multiply this by 100, and that's going to be 800. I'm going to multiply this by 10, and that is going to be 70. And I'm going to multiply this by 1, and that's going to be 4. So I add 800 plus 70 plus 4. That's 874 divided by 1,000. Or 874 thousandths. This can be reduced by dividing both the top and the bottom by 2. And usually, sometimes you don't know this by heart, so I suggest you come over to the side of your page and just divide it. Okay? And that would actually not be 2. That would be 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Okay? 7. And that would be 3. That would be 7. Okay? So that is 437. And then 100 divided by 2 is 500. So this is your answer. All right, and this is the last problem. My suggestion again is to stop the video, work the problem, and then come back. I'm assuming you've started the video back because you have already worked this problem. All right, you need a common denominator for 15 and 4. Here you have 2 15ths and 2 fourths. So one thing you could do is you could list your numbers. Now I'm going to tell you something else that you could do if you didn't want to do this. You could say, well, I'm going to multiply this by 4 because that's 4. And I'm going to multiply this by 15 because that's 15. Because that's going to actually essentially give me a common denominator. 15 times 4 is 60. So now I have a common denominator. 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 5 is 30. So that's 38 60ths. Now, of course, I can divide this and this by 2. All right. So that would be 9, and that would be 30ths. 9 30ths. All right. It is now the end of this lesson. In this lesson, you have learned to add fractions with unlike denominators. To add fractions with denominators that are different, you first need to find the least common multiple of the denominators. That number is the least common denominator, also known as the LCD. The second thing you need to do is you need to add, and then if needed or if you can, you need to simplify. All right.